According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the average age of a Virginia farmer is 58 and a half years old. There is room for hundreds of younger farmers in agriculture's future, and that's where military veterans come in. Last year marked the 20th anniversary of the September 11, 2001 attacks. And after that terrible day, the USO estimates 181,510 Americans enlisted in the armed forces. Those who made the military their career for 20 years are now looking for their next opportunity. Programs like the Arcadia Center for Sustainable Food and Agriculture are helping to train veterans like Marcus Robertson for a career in farming.
The more I learned, the more I realized how much there was to learn and how long it was going to take. And here it is, 2022, and I'm still here and I'm still learning. Because the great thing about farming and agriculture is that it's a continuous learning environment. You're challenged every day. And some days you know exactly what to do. Other days you're kind of like, well, I think I kind of know what to do. And then you do it and either it does work or it doesn't work. But what's really cool is that you learn something. It doesn't work. Or, wow, that did work. So let me, kind of file that in the mental Rolodex. And, so if it happens again, I know what to do.
Arcadia's Veteran Farm Incubator Program isn't the only place where veterans can use the skills they learned in the service in a career in agriculture, but it is the only place where veterans can practice agriculture on land that once belonged to the first Commander-in-Chief. The property is part of Woodlawn Estate, which was once part of George Washington's Mount Vernon. Graduates work a few acres of the property to learn, make mistakes, and learn again before taking on the work and financial commitment of a farm of their own.
We use the phrase adapt and overcome, which is appropriate, but here we're not adapting so that we can overwhelm. We're not adapting so that we can conquer. We're not adapting so that we can necessarily win as much as we learn to work with what we have. What we have is the land. Past the land, we have the dirt. If we do it right, we end up with soil. And if we do it really well from that soil, from that healthy soil, comes some great produce, some fruits, some vegetables, some flowers.
For those who go through the Arcadia program, this is what many are aiming for: a farm out in the country, far removed from the noise and the stress of military life. Which isn't to say that farm life isn't stressful. Indeed, it can be. Dewey and Barbara Haynes operate Hidden Springs Family Farm in Fluvanna County. They grow crops, including several kinds of peppers, raise chickens, and operate a farm store. They're also planning to add beef cattle to the mix. The couple met in 2006 while they were both in the Army in Kuwait during the height of the Iraq War.
One thing led to another, and here we are now. She says that I am the best souvenir she ever brought back from deployment. Who needs another rug when she can have an MP?
Once they were both finished with their service years, they worked as government contractors before deciding on agriculture.
She came home one night, 1 month before I was supposed to retire. She can't really remember what she'd seen or heard of that day, and she goes, "What do you think about being a farmer?" And we got into the whole conversation that she sort of just described, and I said, it sounds like an absolute great job, because much as we love the Army, as much as we loved working for the federal government and appreciate all the chances and opportunities we had, we're not sure we wanted to stay at a desk job for the rest of our lives.
The couple are graduates of another Arcadia program, one based on the weekend warrior model of the Army Reserve. But instead of showing up in uniform one weekend a month, students in the Veteran Farmer Reserve program show up one weekend a month for a year to get hands-on training in agriculture. They also shadow farmers in Virginia and Maryland.
Most farmers that we meet, believe that success is a plateau and there's enough of a market out there for everybody. We also try to be considerate that if somebody else is already doing something that, we don't do exactly the same thing that they're doing.
Jeremy Eng served during Operation Desert Storm and saw action in Somalia and other hotspots. His family had agriculture in their background, though they tried to steer him away from that.
My grandfather farmed. My father farmed as well. They both farmed on the weekend. They were both doctors. And my father told me in high school, I don't care how much you want to farm, you need a real job that pays the bills and farming won't do it. And so I was pushed not to go into farming, but had a passion for it. Ironically, when I got out of the service, he was having a lot of trouble with staff for different reasons. So I came back to help for 6 months or a year, and 20 years later, I'm still here doing it and loving it, and you couldn't drag me away.
Eng operates Lakota Ranch on more than 700 acres in Fauquier County. He raises Devon beef cattle, lambs, chicken, and other livestock. He has also used his property to help veterans get into agriculture.
Service to stewardship, which is an introduction to lots of different types of agriculture for ex-servicemen and women. So you would come out to the farm. We hosted it several years. It rotates to different farms, but you get to work with gardening, you get to work with livestock, you get to work with old hand tools, and the idea being get your hands in the dirt, get your hands on the animals, and not just me, but lots of folks have found it very therapeutic.
Hard work, long hours, self-sacrifice. These are just a few of the traits that translate from military service to agriculture. For those veterans looking to their next challenge, it could be an opportunity to keep serving by providing for the future. In Fauquier County, I'm Burke Moeller reporting.